We were joined this evening on the program by Honorable Abubakar Ahmed, who is a member, House Committee on Defense, is an APC member of the House from Gombe State. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Honorable Abubakar Ahmed, thank you for joining us on the program tonight. Well, let me just begin by referring to a meeting which governors of the northeastern region, the sub-region, held yesterday. And, you know, there was a communique that was released, and part of that communique spoke about the insecurity in that sub-region, particularly where we have Borno, Gombe, and other states, says that kidnapping and farmer-herder clashes, amongst others, are worrisome in the sub-region. So that was coming from the leaders, the governors of the sub-region, essentially. And now, juxtaposing that with what the Minister of Information has said, how does that resonate with you, really? Let's begin with that.
Well, you see, actually, when you talk about this issue of insecurity that is bedeviling us, the banditry, I mean, one has to be astonished, despite the effort of the government, and yet you cannot see result. It is really quite worrisome that the so-said chief executives, chief security officers of our confederating unit, that's the state, are lamenting. The whole of them in the southeast, northeast geopolitical reason gathered together to issue out such a communique. I think the issue is really, really, really disturbing. To say it is even disturbing is an understatement. But let it be, assuming but without really conceding, there are problems. Just supporting it to answer your question with what the Minister of Information has said can be in this perspective, that the government has tried, pursuant to Section 14 of the Constitution, you know, subsection 2A, which is the fundamental responsibility of the government, B, to provide security is the fundamental. When you look at the fundamental, this objective of and derivative of state policy. Now, go to section B and C. It calls for the citizenry participation. How we, you and the listeners, viewers, how are we actually contributing to the government? Are we really pursuing our constitutional responsibility as enshrined in that section? Look at this government from a section. This is the government that has done enough despite the challenges. Increase salary, pay the minimum wage. Just recently, the news reviewer just said, even today, the Minister of Finance said the whole police salary has been reviewed and overhauled. Earlier on, the military salaries were also overhauled. Then what went wrong? Are we trying to allude to what we call administrative stupidity? The president has issued out an order. The Constitution has set it out. The executive wants to carry out. The head of the agencies. Doesn't mean that along the line, some people who are executing it demonstrated what we can call administrative stupidity, that is landing us in trying to solve problem. You create another problem you don't know. I think it is high time that we really have a rethink to the whole this security. The government actually has tried its best. It's decimated the Boko Haram, even the bandit. But look at what is happening. When we now juxtapose this to the issue of administrative stupidity, like I call it, you can use any nomenclature to define it. But look at the scenario. Let me give just a 1-minute scenario of, we call it a Fall Heroes Factory. There is a factory in one country, I wouldn't mention. They inherited Ford, a company from Ford that is manufacturing tires. Well equipped, brand new. It was handed over as a donation by the American government. This is a true life story given to a specific country. Then they were being operating for the last 6 months. They discovered that all the tires being produced by this factory are just after running a few kilometers, they get busted. They got worried. And this factory too is a source of revenue to the state. Now, they gathered their ministerial council meeting. At the end of the day, they detailed one engineer to really find out what is the scenario. This engineer came to the factory from administrative level, highest to the lowest, go to production line. He did all he could. He couldn't unravel the situation. Why are the tires being busted after running a few kilometers? Production line, everything was okay. He even invited the engineer that set up the factory from America that handed over to them, US. They still couldn't find anything. Now, while he was sitting in the laboratory, he saw on the wall, they call it wall, heroes of the factory. And he now noticed that a particular engineer, a production engineer, has remained on top of the echelon for the past 6 months. Coincidentally, when the tires started busting. So he smelled rat. The end of the story is that this man now, called the engineer, asked him, why are you on top of the ladder that you are always best for the last 6 months? You are on monthly basis, you are topping. He said, yes. I have, in the production, I have made the company to generate more money. I saved more rubles, and the state I saved millions of tons of wires.
Right.
And it goes in fetching a lot of money to the state. So I'm being rewarded for that ingenuity. Now he asked him, how did you achieve it? Look at where the stupidity comes in. The man says, on the production line, there are wires that you put for the tires. Now he reduced the quantity.
Well,
so the production, nothing intact. So what I'm trying to allude here is that at the end, that's what is causing the tire to burst. And I attribute it psychologically to an administrative stupidity. So the issue here is that we could have some people along the hierarchy of either the security hierarchy or the security architecture that they thought they are being clever. They are evolving devices, yet they are being foolish. They are being penny-wise, pound-foolish.
You know, quite an interesting...
More resources.
Quite an interesting...
Say here,
okay, you can make that point. Please go ahead.
Good. What I'm trying to assert here is that, let me give you this issue of insurgency. Let me give you one of the administrative stupidity I witnessed in this government. Sometimes back, last year or so, the government closes our border. This closeness of the border has really taken so hard on our neighbors. All the French coffin, it is Benin Republic, look at the turnover, they depend on Nigeria. So this thing tail hard on them. Now we open our border. It is payback time. There is this illusion that their citizens, even their government, are trying to punish Nigeria and Nigerian people for that they feel we have offended them. So they allow their borders to be porous and allow all this proliferation of all these small arms. Yet they are encouraging this conflict.
So
with this kind of scenario, whatever
are you saying then, Honorable,
how do we come to an end?
So, Honorable, are you saying in essence, when you reference those neighboring countries, are you saying they are responsible for the insecurity, the banditry that we're seeing? Are you saying they're partly responsible as well?
Very good. They are partly responsible. It has been on record, on news, where we see the collaboration of some other countries who want to see Nigeria go down. With the collaboration of Judas among us, among the security architect. I mean, we don't want to bedevil this point. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to really relook. The system we have in place is best, but the modus operandi, the mode of execution, the rule of engagement, we need to check. If we need to bring new people with new ideas, we have to check, look, and quote, because you can't tell me with all the effort being put for... Let me give you another thing. Look at the Super Tucano. It was bought with a caveat condition that it must be used to fight only terrorists. The National Assembly, both reps and Senate chamber, we have issued a proclamation. We have advised the government to declare this bandit or whoever in the name of Farmer Hada that is killing, maiming people as terrorists, so that by so doing, you have the legal framework to deploy the Super Tucano to eliminate them. but the government is not yet done because somebody is there misadvising the government. That is administrative stupidity.
About this your expression, the administrative stupidity, which you've alluded
now,
to.
Come to this issue.
Just a moment, Honorable.
The governor of
pardon
Sokoto
me.
State has called for the declaration of state and emergency. By the time that a state of emergency is executed, our military people will have a kind of a leverage and a legal framework to engage these people, take them to their doorstep and kill them. But without such proclamation, if such an act is done, the human right will be there, and that Nigeria has violated their right.
So, Honorable, quite a number of issues you have brought up here, and I doubt we'll be able to deal with them before we wrap up the conversation. But let me just ask you this first. When you alluded, when you said that neighboring countries are partly responsible for insecurity, are you saying that from a point of view of intelligence by the virtue of the fact that you're a member of the Committee on Defense? Or how exactly did you come to that conclusion?
Well, by intelligence report. And I can't say I can share my source on air, but I'm talking on good authority that there has been this connivance inside and outside Nigeria with our neighboring countries. Some people, for some reasons, which can be attributed to political, because they hate the government or because they were defeated, they don't want to see the people that got succeeded or got elected to be successful. They want to prove they have a point. There are those people who corruption that they have been stealing our money and the corruption is fighting back. I don't know how you can put it, but the whole scenario is there. A lot of people thought if they could prevent the government from pursuing corruption, from doing that, they could achieve and have a field day. So all these factors are in effect. Coupled with our individual, we citizens, why are we covering the bandit? Common Kaduna, Abuja Road. Look at one town that has been so notorious for even collecting ransom. Why can't that city be maimed away? Zaki Biam at a point was maimed. Why can't we remove this city? The bandit and everything are hiding there. Why can't the government come up and then, one man perish, save the nation?
Honorable, I'm not sure I get you correct. Are you saying that a whole city, are you saying a whole city be bombarded just to fish out some of these bandits?
No,
is that what you're saying?
It's a village called Rijana and some other, and all the bandits are surrounding it along Kaduna Abuja Road.
But you know that there will be collateral damage, right? Are you considering that as well?
That's what I'm telling you. With the proper proclamation by the instrumentality of the law, the government can even maim a city if they are causing mayhem. But without declaring them as terrorists, without declaring state of emergency, then your hands are tied.
Well, Honorable Ahmed, we're winding down on this, but just quickly, if you can do this in 30 seconds. When you talked about this administrative stupidity, it's a term that I'm personally hearing for the first time, but you seem to be quite grounded in that term. So how endemic is this really in government? When you tell that story about the factory, and let's relate it to Nigeria of today, at the federal level, state level, how endemic is that your expression of administrative stupidity today?
Just to tell you that the civil servant need to be retrained. Till today, you can find a civil servant, a director that is not computer literate. The only use he has for his smartphone is only to receive call, make call, and to the highest to read messages. I know them, occupying offices. Why can't we retrain them? Why can't we be in tandem with reality? So they are so conservative.
Well, Honorable Ahmed, this is certainly a very interesting conversation, especially because, it has taken on different dimensions. And I'd like to thank you so much for at least shedding some light into your perspectives on this. Honorable Abubakar Ahmed is member House Committee on Defense, also APC member of the House of Representatives from Gombe State. He joined us from Abuja studio. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the program.
Thank you very much.